Sorry, I'm just clicking away all the warnings that are coming up now that you're recording. Okay. So, as you mentioned also, let me see, doesn't want to. Yes, there. So, everyone knows the European Bauhaus, of course, and the European Bauhaus, which started a few years ago and has generated hundreds, thousands of initiatives. There's a lot of partners, organizations, friends, etc., that have like closed it into their hearts. There's local chapters, and there's labs, and there's projects, and there's other types of initiatives. Some are funded, some are locally generated bottom up, and this, of course, is a diversity that is broader than what originally was imagined. It generates a lot of knowledge, a lot of experiences, and the next step is now to bring together that knowledge, to collect it, to qualify it, to structure it, and again, share it with the community, both with the current community and with new types of stakeholders that might want to get on board, or those that should, and perhaps think, oh no, European Bauhaus is nothing for me. So we want to share this information, share this knowledge, so that more people can use it, and it can also become, say, a mainstream part of society, not just cultural creative sectors and local communities and architecture and planning, etc., but also in, I don't know, economy, technology, biology, oceans, health, and so much more. So in order to start to bring together this knowledge, so first to check, well, what is that knowledge? What are we looking for? What is typical European Bauhaus knowledge? What is it that differs from ordinary projects? To start to bring together that knowledge, to find it in all of the different corners of Europe, among so many different stakeholders, etc. The European Commission then they announced funding for a knowledge hub, so a NEB hub for results and impacts, that would be tasked with bringing together all of this knowledge and to help make sense of it and to help share it. And that is this project called the NEB Junction, of course, as a junction of many different sectors and disciplines and stakeholders and projects, etc., to bring all of this together. So it started, sorry, it's a quite loud slide. There's lots of information on it, but it also makes it possible for me to just show you this one slide, and that's it. And so the project started on the 1st of May this year, and it will last for 2.5 years, so until the end of 2027. In here, you see the main structure of this work. So there are 3 main parts. Of course, we work with people, so the community, both the existing community and new stakeholders, to go looking for knowledge, to bring all of this together, to define together with the community what this knowledge is going to be through different types of activities, connecting, of course, with the work that the European Commission already does and all of the networks that already exist, but then helping to bring them together. And there you also see, so there will be different types of activities towards decision makers, policymakers, towards the construction sector, towards the local communities, cultural creative sectors, etc., etc. And that's this part in the middle here. Those are coordinated by 2 main work packages and with different partners involved. One of them is Climate Kick, that is going to be in charge of the engagement of all of these bottom-up stakeholders, bring all of them together. And then we have another package that is more, let's say, the top-down, so the structures, the big decision makers, creating decision support together with those communities and those policy makers with the construction sector. And that is being coordinated by Erin, and then with a large contribution to both by democratic society, so that the bottom-up and the more top-down approaches also meet in the middle, and we can make sure that also vulnerable communities or communities that would not naturally connect with the New European Bauhaus, that they also get involved and that they also have a chance to be part of this. So that's the first part, the people in the middle. Then we have an important part on to collect the knowledge, and that is also what you're going to hear more about with these NEB Gems later on. So we have someone that's responsible for collecting and packaging and structuring knowledge. That's Dowell Innovation, and there Clementine is going to present then the work that's being done currently. And I'm just going to move one window here. A second part of this knowledge is then to also monitor, to analyze it, so that it again can be shared. So to make sense of what this is, what this means, and to feed it back then to decision makers. And that work of analyzing this knowledge and perhaps also eventually help the European Commission to create key performance indicators, perhaps developing towards the label, etc. That is then to be coordinated by ICLEI. So the people, the knowledge, and then of course all of this needs to be gathered somewhere so that it is easily accessible, so that people can contribute to it, they can download from it, etc. And that is the portal. So that's the third main part of the NEB Junction. And there again, also we have two main parts. One is the digital infrastructure and the services, including also artificial intelligence, including dashboards, and including all kinds of other functions that then connect with the European Commission. This is coordinated by the Austrian Institute of Technology. And then we have Ars Electronica, connecting art and technology and making sure that all of this technical IT system has a good user interface so that it's intuitive, it's attractive for everyone to use. You can be a technical expert, you can be cultural creative sectors, you can be local communities, you can be NEB lighthouses and have done a lot of NEB, or you can just be started. So all of the different target groups should then easily be able to access this portal, get the information they need, and to engage with this and also bring in their own kind of knowledge. So this is then coordinated by Ars Electronica, and together they will form this portal. So those are the three large parts then of the NEB Junction. And then NTNU, which I'm representing now, is coordinating the NEB Junction as a whole. And of course, making sure that everything we do is always aligned with new developments within the new European Bauhaus, as developed by the European Commission, making sure also that we connect with important other European partners, such as the EIT Culture Creativity, such as the NEB for All project that then collects all the national contact points on New European Bauhaus, and so much more. So this was a very brief, sorry for all of the name dropping and the quite loud slide, etc. But I hope that it gives you an overview. And of course, we will start to unpack this into individual messages and pieces quite soon, as we have our formal public launch next week in Linz during the Ars Electronica Festival. that was the initial presentation. Are there any immediate questions or comments about this? No. Well, we'll have a lot of opportunities then to discuss and for you to give input to what you think then should be collected later on in the interactive session. So also I give the word back to you.
Thank you so much, NEB. And I've seen this slide a couple of times now. I'm looking very much forward to seeing it being operationalized or implemented. It's a quite dense or densely informated sort of slide you have there. But without further ado, I will just leave the floor to just a second. First on the agenda is I can just briefly share once more the screen, just to give you an indication of where are we in the world regarding, oh, sorry. Here it comes. So this is the EIT Culture and Creativity, which is a huge European program, and I'm really happy to have on board to present this Ambra Trotti from the EIT Culture and Creativity, and Nina Bosik from Riese in Sweden. And I hope that you are able to, I suppose, and I know that you're able to explain yourself about your roles, but what we also want to know is, of course, how do you see your activities connected with the European Bauhaus, and what are your perspectives on the European Bauhaus? I will just stop sharing my screen and then give you the floor. I don't know, Nina or Ambra, who of you will start? I've understood.
Thank
that
you, Åsa.
Good.
I will start and also introduce another colleague, that is Alessandra Garibaldi. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect, great. So it will be myself and Alessandra that will present, and Nina will be available for questions. She is currently traveling, so she's present in the meeting, but on a train with a limited connection. Thank you so much for having us here. There have been individual dialogues going along for a while, and this is like the first official moment where we can introduce ourselves and the collaboration that we are setting up together with the NEB. So my name is Ambra Trotto. I am the Director of Transformation and RIS at the EIT Culture and Creativity. There will be a moment to explain what the EIT is, because I think it is important to sort of set a bit the institutional stage. Maybe I will ask for a bit of patience. Let's say the formal introduction of the EIT, even if it is a bit shorter, and then we will get into more details about the collaboration. So if I understand correctly, I have 15 minutes and I will try to keep my time. Great. So what we are. So we are a European institutional partnership, and we are dedicated to making Europe culture and creative sectors more sustainable, resilient, and competitive. We are one of the 9 existing KICs, so that have been they are all our older brothers and sisters. We are the latest one that started quite recently in 2023. And we are aimed at supporting the culture and creative sector, but not only. We have, let's say, an assignment to be a transversal force that can support transformation also in the other sectors through cultural practices and creative approaches. We have a community of more than 60 partners. We work with startups, with cooperation, with entrepreneurs, with investors, consumers, industry, research and education. And we want to empower our partners to achieve, of course, what alone, without collaborating, they cannot achieve. So what we do is that we empower the culture and creative sectors to scale, be competitive, create new jobs. We want to drive the transformation of culture and creativity towards more resilient, sustainable, and responsible economic growth. and we amplify the role of culture and creativity in reducing environmental impact and strengthening social cohesion. These are our core partners at the moment. You will recognize some of the logos, but this is of course all something that you can find in our website. They span, of course, all over Europe, and this is just the start. At the moment, we have 30 core partners, 17 cooperation partners, and then we have a number of community participants and a big number of associate partners. 6 regional hubs. So Europe is divided in these 6 areas. Northwest with the bases in Amsterdam, southwest with the bases in Barcelona, south in Bologna, north in Helsinki, east in Košice, and Vienna for southeastern Alps, while our headquarters are in Cologne in Germany. So what we do is offering network, market access, finance, and policy. So we want to provide access to opportunities and create market opportunities, and we want to finance. We want to also shape policy presence and recommendation. And now back to transformation, which is closer to our topic. So the area that I'm leading is, let's say, transversal to the triangle of knowledge. That is the typical EIT approach that works with innovation, business creation, and education. The area of transformation is transversal. What we do is that we want to transform society through culture and creativity. So it's not working for supporting the sector, but is supporting society through culture and creativity. And what we do, basically our output is creating collaboration platform. We facilitate the infrastructuring of this collaboration platform that pursue different scope. They can work with policies, they can work with resilience as a lens, they can work with the different kind of societal challenges, and we are setting up the business plan for the upcoming 3 years because we're sort of like reaching our full capacity now. At the moment, we are a company of around 45 people. And we started with 4 at the beginning of 2023, so 24, sorry, so it went quite fast. So regarding transformation, the way that we work is we work with values as a compass. We want with our mechanism to promote experimental spaces. Basically, what we do is that we create funding mechanism and support mechanisms, initiative that create those platforms and fund those platforms. We cultivate shared learning platforms, and we want to work with long-term transdisciplinary transformation processes. This is a bit the problem with transformation. They cannot be pop-up project and then end. We work with integrating. We want to work with integration of different kind of actions so that we can achieve long-term transformation. And then there is something about increasing the literacy and the understanding of what design and creative approaches and artistic practices can do to support other sectors. So our main areas in the transformation department are NEB and transformation, where we design, we pilot, and we enable sustainable and inclusive futures through transsectoral integration. We're supporting an initiative that is called Strategic Topic Groups, which is a partner-led initiative where strategic topics are defined by our partners, and we sort of create for them the sandboxes to work with those topics from a funding perspective, from a policy perspective, but also from a knowledge perspective. And we are creating a knowledge platform where we want to harvest and explore diverse ways of knowing rooted in culture and creative practices. And I mean, without going too much into details, but the fact that we have a transformation and NEB area within the EIT comes from the fact that there has been a request for us to work on the NEB. There is already a collaboration that has a very successful collaboration that has been going on between the EIT and the NEB since 2023 with the EIT Community NEB. and that is a cross-kick operation. But as EIT Culture and Creativity, we have received the assignment for these 3 initiatives. One is concerning the NEB Academy. So the further steps of the NEB Academy, we will work on a feasibility plan for further consolidating what has been done so far with the NEB Academy. So it is about skilling and upskilling, creating higher education courses and programs for the transformation of the lived environment. Then we are supporting the NEB as far as fashion is concerned, since now the focus on the NEB is very much on neighborhood and the lived environment. We're also opening up the fashion chapter and starting to explore what can be done there to support a transition towards circular practices. And the way that we're doing it as a first initiative is that we're running a training and an expert mentorship that will scale up in supporting companies and new businesses with the transition towards circular practices. And then we have the NEB systemic narratives, which is very much about engaging with legacy networks spanning from the NEB lighthouses, but also other NEB demonstrators, where we want to carry out a participated process to facilitate this co-creation of learning journeys and systemic narratives in collaboration with the NEB Junction, and also trying to understand how we can complement what the NEB Junction has already set out to achieve. What we will have to figure out is very much about what are the gaps in the funding landscape that as EIT Culture and Creativity we can fill to ensure that there is a continuation of already successful initiatives that need to go on and build and tweak their direction or continue or scale or get to another step. So we will try to figure out how can we position ourselves in this funding landscape and support initiatives that are NEB based on NEB values and the NEB approach. So the outcomes of the collaboration, then I will leave the word to Alessandra. We are asked to facilitate knowledge exchange between the NEB demonstrator beneficiaries and the wider NEB community. We are asked to map the NEB project implementation cycle. We are set to identify common challenges and steps where additional support is needed, as I was saying before, to ensure this long-term sustainability, scaling up and replication of projects. We want to capitalize on our creative and entrepreneurial nature so that we can leverage tools and visions for the creative sector. And then the strengthening of the development of NEB projects through deeper anchoring in the NEB ecosystem. So basically a bridge between the research and innovation and the rollout component of the NEB facility. And also creating opportunities for other NEB community entities to connect with existing projects or launch their own NEB actions. At this point, Alessandra, I will leave the floor to you. You are muted.
Thank you, Ambra. Here I am. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm very happy to see you also. Oza, thank you. Last time I was there, I was with you, but I was kind of undercover because we didn't start yet. We hadn't started yet at that time the system narratives project. Which I will lead, supporting Ambra, together with Nina Bozic, who is now somewhere on a train, but still with us, whom as lead facilitator is now setting up the team with me. And we will be running about 4 workshops. We are not sure exactly now because we still have to, let's say, confirm some of the dates and the formats. That will be for us, let's say, the chance both online and in person to meet some of you, hopefully all of you, and hopefully even more. to go through together and learn from you, let's say, from your perspective, because as you might have, let's say, sensed also from the presentation by Ambra, there are many areas of overlapping potentially with the NEB Junction, but in reality, this is not going to happen because we've got only 4 months, while NEB Junction luckily has 2 years and a half to develop and deploy all its job, which goes much beyond to what we are doing. And so for us, as Ambra was saying, the 2 lines are mainly understand how to create a support mechanism that could help and complement other ways of supporting the many of the incredible things that you have been doing these years through the NEB. And then, of course, the other part is much more linked to what we call a system narrative. So we realized, and also this is one of the reasons why we were involved as EIT Culture and Creativity, that there was somehow the need to create a narrative around your projects, which are incredibly diverse, on one end, but although they, of course, have everything in common. And through a creative component. So we also aim to have at the end of our workshop, by the end of the year, let's say a narrative, a really creative one that can be then further developed in many ways that could also support, let's say, the understanding outside the NEB bubble and community of what the NEB is, its potential and its capacity and all the things that I say not all, but say many of the things that you have been doing, and especially the set of values it can bring. And so in order to do so, we are working quite closely with the JRC, of course, in NEB Junction. So with NEB, we are always working together with the lighthouses. So for us, the 6 lighthouses are, of course, the critical point, because this is where knowledge has been built up to now through very different experiences with, as we mentioned, a lot in common, but also many differences. And it was quite interesting for us, I have to say, to go through all the incredible amount of documentation you have been creating, and then, let's say, to really experience that diversity. And it's really worth to go deeper into that and try to find a new ways of telling that, or let's say, to support. So basically, we will be complementing the work that NEB Junction is doing now. And so this is what we are going to do. First of all, we are going to be in Linz next week. So for those who will be there, we will be meeting then. And for us, it will be really the first time we can meet in person. So we are quite happy of that. And for the other meetings, we are already trying to somehow make the most of existing events and occasions, especially with the NEB Junction. So with NEB, we were trying to see how to do that. And one of our meetings will be at the final conference on the Bowers of the Sea Sails, so in Venice. So we will try to be where you already are, in order not to overburden you with many more things, because we know one of the complications was that many of you are about to end, so you are probably fed with reporting or so. And so this is what is going to happen. So Nina and I will be fully on it. So it's our main task for the next month. So you will probably be hearing from us. And I'm really happy that we will be meeting many of you next week in Linz.
I see that we are already 1 minute after our dedicated time, but I wanted to add just like one small thing. I mean, the way that we're setting this up is very much trying to leverage on creative and design and artistic approaches. So we are recruiting a series of transformation agents that will support the production of different kinds of translation of the results that will appeal different sensitivities. We'll try to use different media, different ways of talking to people. So that is, let's say, the angle that we are taking as IT Culture and Creativity. This is part of one of the activities that we have within our department, of setting up a pool of expert transformation agents that can support transformation processes and navigating complexities and different kind of initiatives that are dealing with design for systemic and sustainable societal transformation. With that, I give the word back to Åse, and if there are any questions, please feel free to ask.
And I just wanted to say hi and show my face so you know who I am. I'm Nina, that I was mentioned, that is on the train. So I look forward to see you in the coming months and talk to you more.
Thank you, Nina, and thank you, Alessandra and Ambra. Could you please stop sharing your screen? So we just need to check. I don't think there are any more questions or comments, but if you have, please raise your hand, or you can also use the chat. But there will also be the opportunity a bit later. So just moving on, I just want to introduce our next speaker, and I'll just do it by, if I can do it very quickly, sharing the screen once more. And sorry, this is Dowell Innovation. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Perhaps you recognized the logo from the presentation that Annemie had. And it will be Clémentine Coujard. I think this is you in the middle. I've never met you before, but I suppose
you found me.
You found good. So just we're looking forward to hear, because you, I think, as I understood from Annemie, you are the organization who came up or invented the concept NEB Gems. So if that is not correct, so please elaborate on what it is and what are you thinking about it or doing with it. So the floor is yours, Clémentine, and nice to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for inviting me. I'm very pleased to be there. Just a few words about me. So my name is Clémentine Coujard. As you said, my company is Dowell Innovation. We are a French consultancy company. We are cooperative and proud of it. Based in the south of France. We are involved in R&D and innovation management for a long time now, and European projects mainly related to the built environment and energy systems. We were coordinated the Nebula coordination and support action that were more related to the Build for People partnership and the networking of innovators in the built environment. We started to disseminate about the European Bauhaus, and that's how we met with the NEB community and get on board the NEB Junction project, in which I'm responsible for the knowledge management work package. And okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about these NEB Gems. I'm going to try share my screen. Usually it's complicated. Just tell me if it works.
It works. Thank you.
Great. Okay, I'm lucky today. Okay, so Annemie said it quite clearly already. Why do we want to develop these NEB Gems? The idea is to make the European Bauhaus knowledge accessible and usable to all. So we want to share knowledge and practice in a simple, efficient, and practical manner, so that we can capitalize on each other's experience and in the end accelerate the implementation of the NEB practices. So what do we mean exactly with this NEB Gem concept? First of all, it's a work in progress. That's really something that we started in June, July. So far, it's more the result of bilateral exchanges than really a convergence at even our consortium level. So any feedback is very welcome. I would be happy to exchange about that. So this is where we stand. But first of all, an NEB Gem is something you did or something you learned and that you would like to share because you think it's valuable and usable by others. So it could be a key result from a project, from an initiative, and it can have various forms. It can be a tool, some guidelines, it can be a specific use case, some insights, findings, lessons learned, good practices, software, whatever. It can be from very local scale to European scale, maybe more high-level policy level, for instance. The key point is that it's valuable and can be usable by others. Second point, what form will it take in the end? Annie presented it. We will have this NEB Junction portal. In the end, a NEB Gem will be a piece of knowledge that will be condensed and formatted so that it's displayed in this NEB Junction portal. So we will have some format constraints. Third, what will be the source of these NEB Gems? Gem will be based on one or several formal and publicly available sources. What we mean is that we need to rely on formal documentation that we can explore. This means web pages, documents, and videos, and that's it. Why? Because indeed we have constraint of volume to process and quality to check, so we have to put some limits on the type of resources that we can handle. I will come back to that. And finally, it's about description versus evaluation. In this first phase, we will start by giving some description, synthetic description of knowledge that projects, initiatives will provide. That's the first step. In the second step, I mentioned my enemy. We have the partner ICLEI that will be working on some indicators, impact assessment framework. So in the second step, we hope that these NEB Gems could also have this second layer of analysis with some indicators and connections. Okay, we categorize gems into main categories. Case studies, we mean real-world implementation of some NEB principles in one specific given context. And here the main objective is to inspire and raise awareness about the European Bauhaus. The second category is everything else. We called it actionable resources. This is really not very attractive wording so far, but it reflects the call. The call was about actionable knowledge. So here we put everything that is some tool, guidance, insight, anything they can use if you want to implement the NEB values in your own project, initiative, or whatever. This is very draft. The idea was to have not so many categories and to have something simple, but open for suggestion and comments. And of course, these two are interconnected. Usually in a project, if you have one good case studies, you use some tools, you have some lessons learned, and we can connect these two aspects together. The idea, of course, is to interlink the different results as much as possible. Now, how do we elaborate these gems? We have a challenge that was mentioned already. There is already a massive amount of knowledge that has been produced about the European Bauhaus and even more documentation. So we have to find this trade-off between quality and quantity, volume of results that we want to handle. To that end, we have the partner AIT that will develop this AI tool to help us process the sources of knowledge and help us also synthesize the documentation and extract the essence of it so that we can produce these NEB Gems. This will be done by AIT. We are discussing and really considering, so nothing promised here. Normally, this tool, we, the partner of NEB Junction, we will use them to process the knowledge that you give us. That's the starting point. But we are also considering maybe to have a kind of AI-supported online template where you can come with your good deliverable that you think is a NEB Gem, you can drop it, and then the AI tool can propose a synthesis that is structured as a NEB Gem, and you could review, validate, adjust it. But not confirmed yet, we are really exploring this idea with AIT. So, the basic case is that we have one result that is super well documented in one report or deliverable, and that will give a nice gem. That's the easy situation. But of course, we have many more. One result could be documented through several deliverables because it's a big result or it's large. There could be some webinars, and we can condense all that in one gem. In some other cases, several results could be documented in one key deliverable, giving birth to one gem. And of course, in some other cases, we could have one result in one nice deliverable with so much material and different ideas and tools and insights that it could give birth to several gems. So this is the panorama, but beyond that, we even think about some meta gems. So once after a first step, once we produce these first gems, they might have some similarities or correspondence that are really interesting. And with the work that ICLEI will be developing about this impact assessment and so on, we imagine that we could also consolidate this in order to extract some higher level knowledge. So that we call MetaGem, but that come from a yesterday discussion, so really very fresh. So of course, we will start, now we are already working on this first stage, one key report trying to define what would be one gem, and which we hope that we end up also with this second layer of MetaGems. What will the NEB Gem look like? And that will be my last part. So some requirements. The description should be short because we talk about a web platform. So it's a web display. It should be, of course, visually attractive. And for that, we have Ars Electronica, that is a great partner to provide a very nice user interface. It should give access to the initial sources. That's super important. And here we have some question on how to make sure that these sources are available on the long, or at least on the mid to long term. And it should include tags so that we have different functionalities for people to search within the platform through different angles, according to their profile, the topics, or even potentially open questions. This is also in discussion. So for the first category, the case study category, that would be the structure. So you can see here that design is really not my background, so don't consider the layout, just the contents. We would have a description of the use case of the case study in 5 sentences: context, objective, challenges addressed, implementation methods, and results. The second section is about who can use this resource. It's important to know who can use the result, who is it valuable for. Third section is about what can we learn from it. So here we have a very synthesis about the key findings and insights. And of course, finally, we have the links to the different sources that constitute the gem. Same now for the other category, the actionable resources category. So we have also a synthesis at the beginning with the context. So what sector, domain of knowledge, the nature, is it a tool, a software, a report, a template that you can reuse or whatever. The question of accessibility, what license, is it free of use, can you adapt it, and so on. The aim, what can you do with it, and the credits, from which project, who are the authors, and so on. Then we have same question, who can use this resource? So who are the targets, users? How will it help? So what are the benefits and the added value of this tool? So here it might be a bit difficult, but we hope that we can really document what are the results, not just the presentation of a tool, but how it was used and what are the results. And finally, again, the links to the sources. All right, I think I'm through. But before I give you back the floor, I promised to my colleague from a Democratic Society to say just a few words about the NEB Junction Stakeholders Assembly. So that's another part of the project. They are just starting to set up this Stakeholders Assembly, and we would be happy to have you all on board because you have only knowledgeable people in the room, I would say. So there would be a first cycle of 3 2-hour meeting in October, November, January. There will be some invitation detailing what would be the exact objectives and content and exchanges and so on. But if you are interested, please just drop your name, organization, and email in the chat. I will collect them and you will receive the invitation. This is no commitment. Then you can explore it and see if you are interested to join. And with that, I'm through. I hope I was not too long. Do you have any questions?
Thank you so much, Clémentine. There's actually a question in the chat. I just want to read it aloud. Where will the NEB gems be integrated into the NEB Junction? And it's Rebecca Van Eyck who is asking.
Where? Sorry, I'm sorry.
Where will the NEB gems be, and will they be integrated into the NEB Junction?
In the platform, on the online web platform. Which has no form yet, so everything is still to be defined, but it will be on the platform, on a web platform. So it will be a web format. It will be a database with a graphical interface in which you can browse, navigate. Some dashboards are also planned, but this is not my part, so I cannot so much comment on that. And all I know is that it's not yet really designed.
But just to quickly follow up, so this will be a separate platform and a separate web page to the NEB Junction.
It will be integrated in it.
Integrated, okay.
Yes, the platform is really the
we cannot hear you,
starting point for the knowledge and the community.
Are you muted?
Also. Sorry if that wasn't clear.
Perfect. I love the NEB Gem idea.
I think also might have a
because
problem.
we cannot hear you right now. Try, please say something more so we can test.
No, I think it's
Clémentine.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. But I think also couldn't hear you for some reason.
And you were explaining something as an answer to Rebecca.
Yes, but we could all
can you please repeat?
We could all hear Clémentine. You could not.
I'm talking to you, Clémentine. It's not easy, but we don't a lot of things.
To make it short, to repeat my answer to Rebecca, the NEB Gems will be integrated into the NEB Junction web platform. Some part will be more dedicated to the community interactions, but it will also integrate all this knowledge database.
Thank you. And then we have a question. Yeah, we have a question from Christina and also one from Maria. Please, Christina.
It's not a question. I just wanted to say that I'm really amazed about this concept, because it's the gem is, because I'm coming from the beautiful side of the European powers, and it's a boundary object, and that is very, very nebbish, I think, because it's, it is both of them. It's content, it's value, and it's actionable because it's magic. A gem has always been magic in European narratives. I love it. Just wanted to say.
Sure, we had a lot of fun brainstorming on the name, to have a short name for this idea of packaged knowledge that is usable. So we had a lot of fun with that, and I'm quite happy with the gem wording. Maria, please. Nice to see you, by the way.
Yeah, likewise, Clémentine. And I can only second what has been said. It's a really cool idea, and I just wanted to offer, if you need different types of NEB projects to test how the NEB could look like, because through AT Community NEB, as you know, we've been deploying the NEB since 2021. And we have supported the startups. We have projects that change the public space. We had other more citizen engagement projects. And we did kind of ideation events with all types of individuals that then their ideas were tested further. So, we have different types of, ways of deploying the NEB. And if that can be of any use in the early stage for you to finalize the concept, please let us know.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Maria. Actually, I love the projects that are supported by the IT Community NEB, and I actually integrated some examples in our first list for the testing of the NEB Gems. But then there is a question on how to document them, which is more complicated than a big EU project with formal deliverables. But that's the point, because the idea is that we cover that type of initiatives and results that are much more local. So for sure, I will come back to you. First, with AIT, we are really working on the AI2 development. So what can we do as a gem, and how can it be processed, because we have to automate a little bit this process, for sure. So we are trying to working on this trade-off between what is the ideal knowledge we want to produce or package, and what are the technical possibilities given by the project resources. But for sure, I will come back to you about that. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Any other remarks, comments, questions? Lordana?
Yes, hi. Happy to see you. I have a question about the AI that you are going to use for putting everything together. Is there going to be any conversation around how to train this AI? Because with the European Bauhaus project, they are spread all over the world now, not only in Europe. And there are beautiful initiatives that are not on a very accessible platform, for instance, or even with lighthouses, sometimes the outcomes are not published or published on a pretty accessible platform. So with AI, it's really important how to do the training, how to educate the AI in order to pick up the actual gems. which are the rare finds, the rare NEB finds, right? So is there going to, the question is there going to be a further discussion about AI, or are you just going to delegate someone and trust that they know better how to deal with that?
Our partner AIT that is developing this AI tool, so Austrian Institute of Technology, you might know them. We are really starting to work together. That's my first time working with the development of an AI tool. I cannot really answer your question because I'm also wondering about that. One first thing is that we said, let's first focus on Europe because there are already so much to do. So that's a question we already had, but let's start with what is in Europe because otherwise it's too much. Another key starting point is let's start with online available resources. Because again, here we have to start somewhere easy and get more complexity later on. But I would say if you can join the NEB Junction Stakeholder Assembly, you could ask this question to AIT, and it would be super nice to have people challenging a little bit the AIT, the AI development approach. We need support on that. So if you have a bit of time, that would be great.
I would be happy to. It's with AI, it's really important how you start the conversation, like how in the beginning and how to put things together. And with NEB project, the AI must have some culture, and putting culture knowledge together, it's a big challenge, right? So yeah, because I'm not sure how AIT is strategizing around this, but if it's going to be a tech company or a tech consortium, they will think they know best and they will rely on the technology. And with culture, it's not how it works, particularly if we want to highlight heritage and art. You really need the human factor in the conversation, and it starts with the coordination from the beginning, I think. So if I'm needed, I'm up for it to help. I don't know.
Okay, great. Yes,
just have that in mind. Like the human factor is really crucial now.
Sorry,
with training the AI.
Well,
right,
something.
Point taken.
Okay, good. Sorry because we need to proceed with the program, I think, and unfortunately, I can only hear some of you speaking, so I hope that doesn't inflict on the recording. It'd be quite devastating. But Rebecca, I hope that you can either do your question in the chat, and we can have it answered in writing, and then I'll just proceed with NEB because we do still have a session left in the program. But I suppose
you have said anyway. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Clémentine, for presenting your the gems. It sounds like a really interesting concept. So moving on, NEB, could you please take on the next session?
Yes, of course we don't have a lot of time for it, but I wanted to briefly show you some examples. So I'm not saying that those are NEB gems, but Clémentine, as you said, so projects are developing key results, and then some of these results might be compiled into a NEB gem eventually. And so we've been testing this a little bit manually then from the NEB Star project, so one of the NEB lighthouses, and hopefully then soon in the coming weeks with the other NEB lighthouses as well, to see what that could look like. And there's a big Excel sheet, but this is just a few examples in a PowerPoint slide, and then we would like to ask you if you have ideas for what would really constitute gems, like what would those gems be, or where would we find them, etc. We also have a Miro board where you could just add lots of ideas so that we also know where to find you afterwards. So we have a first base to start looking. And yes, we will combine AI and humans. We even have a description of how this will interact, so how we will organize a process in order to make sure that we start in the right place. But of course, yes, we would be happy to include. We'd be happy to include, so to get more voices in. And that's also why we are at the beginning of the project, starting then with. Sorry, I'm trying to, I can't get the right example started. Yes, here I have. Okay. Good. So very quickly, and it kind of mirrors what Clémentine has also described, like from key results to like impacts, outcomes, like connecting different results, etc. And of course, this is not always linear. So we need to find out also how this works. So this is a presentation from one project's perspective, and not from the NEB Junction, but from the NEB, from one of the NEB lighthouses that is trying to meet what the NEB Junction is looking for. And what we did is that from all of these different things that happened in NEB Star, we looked at three main categories. So there's long-term systemic innovations, like structural changes, regulations, etc. We looked at like physical territorial transformations, and we looked at tools or methods that connected really beautiful, inclusive, and sustainable. I'll just show you like one example of each just to get the ideas going, and then we can go to the Miro for long-term systemic innovation. So, and this, as you see, the characteristics that Clémentine showed on her slide. So we try to transform these into information here on this slide, plus a picture. So we have what is the resource here, what's the credits, how will it help, who can use it, and then sources where you can find it. So we have this for example, social entrepreneurship models that are tested in different cities. We have it also for like visual tools and visual mapping that inform long-term planning that were tested with different public and private sector and local community partners in Stavanger, Utrecht, and Prague of the NEB Star projects. We also have like physical built structures that are co-created together with the local community using, reusing materials and structures that were already there as a meeting space. And we also then have like digital tools and exhibitions, for example, that visualize data, all kinds of urban data into a platform and with lights and sound, etc., so that it gives people a different perspective of what the city or what a neighborhood is like at that point in time. So those are some of the examples. I'm just rushing through them now. So those are some of the examples. And so we're developing this overview of key results from one project. We would love then to do something similar with the other NEB lighthouses to start to bring together and compare, hoping that this also can be a kind of manual input. So this could be perhaps to be developed further with Clémentine, of course. This could be a first way to get the necessary input then for afterwards, for AI to be able to pick up on the right things, something like this. So, and I'm really sorry for rushing through this, but this was the quickest way I could imagine to do this. And then we have a Miro, and I'll post the... And it logged me out. We have a Miro board, so if you in the meantime can think about specific examples that you would like to bring in, I will work on logging into the system again because it kicked me out. So start to think about which things you're going to be posting in the Miro board when, as soon as you get the link. What we did in the Miro board is that we made 3 categories now. For the time being, it might be updated afterwards, but these 3 main categories. So the long-term systemic innovation, the physical transformations, and then these tools that integrate beauty, inclusion, and sustainability. So we have here the Miro board. I hope you have access to it. Then I can briefly share the screen so I can show you where to go. So this is a Miro board also that we've been using for several sessions. You might remember it from June as well, and for the lighthouses also from the lighthouses also earlier on from the 5th of March. So we were just basically building from time to time. So you will see that you have these three fields here. You have the long-term systemic innovation, the physical transformations, and then the tools, etc., that integrate the different NEB values. So just to get some first ideas going, so you can take a sticky note from the left here in whatever color you want. You can take it and just move it somewhere and start to write. If you want us to contact you, please, of course, also write your name or so there so that we can find you afterwards. And we'll do a proper collection of ideas later on. For now, we would just be interested then in are there other categories here, for example, also that you really, from the NEB lighthouses or from similar projects, are there other types of categories that you would really want to see highlighted? Are there specific types of examples that we should include, that we should start to build? So any of those types of contributions. And I think for now we could just also if you have any questions or so, you can just put them in there right now so that we have a way to follow up. I'm sorry, this was supposed to be a longer session, but then we are a little bit short on time. And Clémentine, I'm assuming that the comment you had in the chat is linked to connecting the AI and human interaction. That is indeed part of ICLA's work. If there are more comments or questions, so while everyone is adding things to the Miro, so if you want to ask something or say something in the plenary here, of course, you're also most welcome to do so.
And then I would like to respond to Rebecca. So I get your point, Rebecca. You're absolutely right. The thing is, we are really now in the inception phase of the NEB Gem. So first we need to do some prototypes, test them, make sure they are right. And then indeed we could produce some kind of guidelines to help starting or ongoing projects to prepare their NEB Gems by the end of their work plan.
Thanks for the answer. Yeah, of course, I'm coming from the perspective of our project partners, and we fund a lot of small scale projects, which would be perfect resource to pump out some really high quality NEB Gems. And I think instead of working kind of retrospectively by extracting from the knowledge we already have, if there's some way that we could integrate that into the kind of application, project design, project implementation process, it would just be a great process for pumping out some strong high quality NEB Gems. But an idea for into the future. I know this is a baby idea that is in growth stage.
That's great. Thank you very much. And actually, one of the discussion at the beginning was about the web platform. Is it interactive or is it collaborative? Given the limited resources we have, first it's interactive. So indeed, we start with existing results, we package them, we give access to them, and so on. Then if we go further, the idea was to be collaborative and that everyone can contribute directly and produce and propose some gems. And in that case, indeed, we need some guidelines and template, whatever, framework, as you say, to help people prepare them.
if I may, I would just briefly want to show, I know it's a very populated slide, that I just want to show it again because it shows some of those mechanisms that we had, that we've considered then to exactly find emerging, small, local, and lots of others. So we have this, we will have these like town hall things. We also make a glossary to make sure that, you know, we're talking all about the same thing, mapping stakeholders. So it's not about just like funded established projects or that already have been working for several years. It can be new and emerging. It can be local, not funded by anyone at all, but just local volunteering. We'll do sessions across Europe with different types of stakeholders. We'll do learning journeys. So that's also where then democratic society is coming in to really like work very, very locally in perhaps also communities that are not connected to the European scene. The stakeholder assemblies then again. So if you know of a lot of networks and you want to be part of that assembly, just please put your name in the chat. And here's then this rendezvous on dreams and tools. So that's actually where ICREI will then work to connect what we get from AI with human dreams and tools, making sure that the technology and the beauty intertwine, etc., etc. We'll do foresight sessions, so not just on what has been, but what is going to come and what people imagine that NEB could or should be. We'll do political coffees with NEB in Brussels, you know, to get different policymakers, etc., to talk and to meet. So lots of different things. So that hopefully, so we have a lot of different mechanisms and to try to pick up on all of these, whatever is stirring in NEB, New European Bauhaus, both has been in the past years, is coming, new ideas in not just in Europe then, but also so wherever the New European Bauhaus is going. So yes, but for the time being then please, so add your ideas in Miro, put your email in the chat for to be part of the stakeholder assembly, and then we can start to work from there.
Yes, I'm reading your comment about emerging NEB gems. So that's very interesting. I would say now as a starting point, of course, we want to consider mature projects like the NEB Lighthouse project because they have mature results. So that's the easy part. And that was the first thing that we have to do in the call. What do you mean? So what would be an emerging NEB in your view?
Well, we had, just to dive in there, so we were a consortium, including ICREI, so they know it very well. And we selected out of 100 applications, 20 cities or municipalities of smaller nature. And they had conversion projects of industrial heritage, for example, all kinds of living lab environments. And they received coaching from the consortium 75 days per project. And so there's really a lot of power there, but they haven't been finished yet, right? But there is very, very powerful, pre-selected. The NEB toolbox came out of this project. So there's a lot of, I say, initiative in those municipalities, and sometimes they need the recognition of being one of the emerging NEB gems. To keep going, sometimes with their own funding and so forth, and not always look at third-party funding.
All right, thank you. So thanks a lot for your inputs. Very interesting and challenging to fine-tune this NEB gem concept.
I think at this point, so if anyone is writing something in Miro and you would also like to mention it here, please go ahead. And then I'm checking with also a little bit when, yeah, you have to tell us when it's time to, because this was now a bit improvised as we had a shorter time. So I think if still anyone wants to say something about these NEB Gem, so it's really good to hear that it engages, that the concept engages. That was exactly also the point of also bringing it up here. And then so thank you to also then for giving a venue to test this in a smaller space than where the network is already coming together, etc. So that it's an opportunity also for us to sharpen the ideas and to perhaps also see then which different perspectives could and should be included. And of course, making sure then that this knowledge that is collected, and these gems, etc., that are being collected, that this then also eventually will be connected to the work of EITCC. So one thing is the existing, so the gems or emerging NEB gems, and then how will these be supported towards systemic innovation? So that it's not just a here and now activity or depending on having project funding, but how could this be supported onwards so that an entrepreneur or a cultural entrepreneur, a youth entrepreneur, social entrepreneur, a municipality, an artist or so could just take that and work on with it and further develop it. So what would be needed there? So we're very interested in this connection between the knowledge that is being gathered and then so what? So then what comes afterwards? How do we make sure that it's not just a one-time experience, but that it can actually be integrated into a longer-term structure?
Yeah, thank you, Annemie. We still have 10 minutes left, and I just need to conclude the meeting at a certain time. But if you feel for it, just also, I mean, the interaction here, it's very good to have this dialogue. And as we don't have breakout rooms in this session, I encouraged you to just speak up and share, perhaps also by talking what you consider could be a NEB Gem from your project or initiative, perhaps. Unfortunately, I think there's some technical issues with my computer. I cannot access the board, or I can access the board, but I cannot write on Post-its. I'm not sure if I'm the only one with this problem. But I suppose, Annemie, we can also later, well, we will be continuing this work, right? So it's not just these 10 minutes or 9 minutes that we have for this.
No, we will find a way to continue it. But there we need to check a little bit then with Clémentine and colleagues how we would organize this so that when we start to ask people for contributions, that we make sure it's in the right format, etc. So, but that is something we can clarify.
Sure. And Maria, please.
Hi, I just have a reflections about the concept of the meta gem, because I also thought it was interesting. I guess if I understood correctly, there will be like different types of categories of gems because, yeah, we have found, like, for instance, there are several projects that they tackle the same challenge in different ways, and somehow then how is this digestible from somebody? Okay, I like to see all the gems related to this topic, but then the meta gem concept, I thought it was really interesting, and I just, yeah, it's about to explore how would you pair up gems that they are, I guess, complementary, so they're maybe not in the same gem category, but they could be complementary to make this systemic change. Is this the idea, or just, yeah, to reflect on it? Yeah.
So that's one side of it. So there are two aspects. There's the complementarity or interconnection between different gems. we haven't started yet the work with Ars Electronica about the user interface, but the question is really how you browse into this web platform. Can you say, I'm an urban planner and I'm interested in neighborhood regeneration in Northern Europe, for instance? Or can you say, so this is something that has to be discussed, how you enter and how you can customize a little bit the platform to get the answer that you are looking for, or maybe just the inspiration. So that's completely open. So we could have this connection between NEB Gems, and then there is this question of maybe having higher level conclusions or insights, because part of NEB Junction is also about policy recommendations or this type of things, or maybe funding program recommendations. So this is another idea, is really how we could combine some results together. But that's very early to know because we don't have even one NEB Gem prototype so far. We have one, but it's just the theoretical example, so I will not share.
Yeah, thank you. Christina, please.
Yeah, I just an idea that came to my mind. Do you know the cyanotypes project? It's a project that has been built to form the creative skills for the future. There will be a workshop in September as well in Prague at the Creative Skills Week. I will attend to it as well. And I think it could be great to have exchange with the project, because they too developed an AI to prompt formats to qualify creative skills. So the skills for creative actors in the future in the IA future of their creative work. So it's a bit similar to feeding an AI with cultural aspects, human aspects. And I think it could be good to perhaps look at this project and try to exchange with them how did they approach this problem of how do we feed the AI.
I put the details in the chat. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Any more comments or questions? I'm sorry, I cannot reflect on them because I can only hear half of you, but it's a weird thing to listen to the questions but not being able to listen or hear the answers. So please bear over with me or forgive me if I'm not replying to your comments, or if you have an answer to or a question to me, you need to write it. So is there any more comments or any more questions? Because then we will soon close down or finish this meeting. Okay, do you have anything finally to say, NME, or should I just give it?
No, I think just to see, one, I really loved that there was so much engagement on the NEB Gems. So not just which ones would be picked or so, but just like the concept of it. And so I really look forward then to we look really forward to being able to discuss this further, so that we don't lock it in from the very start, but that we are able to really make something that can make a difference. And that is, of course, also why these stakeholder assemblies will be held, and all of these other opportunities to meet with different types of stakeholder groups and networks. And as you know, I know Christina is going to be there, so we will be at the Ars Electronica Festival in Linz next week. So that's where we have our public launch as well. So then we will also meet with the STARTS network. We'll meet with lots of artists, cultural, creative sectors, and other types of professionals linked to art and technology. So that's the first opportunity then to get a lot of this input in. So I hope that will work. And then, of course, we look really forward to continuing this discussion with you. So thank you also for giving us this platform to have this first discussion here.
And thank you, NEB, for this collaboration. I find that's the most important parts of European Bauhaus, that we collaborate across projects, across countries, across the stakeholders. And from the Desire project, from the Desire community, from Blockshop, we're also interested in having this community deeper involved in the NEB Junction, as we briefly discussed yesterday or the day before. Because we have a plan for the webinars this year, but we still need to define what are we going to do next year. So there it might be an idea to join forces and see how we can benefit. For the last minute, I just want to inform you that the next Irresistible Cities Lab will take place not on the 15th of September, that was not possible, but on the 23rd. And it will have a topic about cities. How do cities benefit from being involved? And when I say cities, I mean municipalities and the city administrations. In Desire, we had 2 city administrations involved, and I'm not sure both of them will take part, at least one of them, and that's the city of Turin, who actually have prepared a European Bauhaus manifesto that guides their activities and their policies, and they will take part and share how they use the European Bauhaus movement and how it influences their policies and strategies. And I hope to get another city involved as well. So for the next session on 23rd of September will be a session where we share learnings from Desire, and also invite you to share between yourself in breakout rooms to have this kind of discussions. But thank you so much, Clémentine and Ambra and Alessandro, for your presentations. It was really great to hear what I was able to hear, definitely, luckily the most of it. And thank you, NEB, also for organizing the most part of this session and for taking us through the NEB Junction and the mirror board. And then I just want to wish you all the best for the coming days, and see you next time, I hope. I will send out a follow-up mail, so you will get the link to the recording if it show up to have the noise, the sound included as well. But good to see you all, and have a nice evening.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.